everyone. Today is Easter Monday. I hope that if you celebrated Passover or Easter, that you were able to find a way to honor your practice and felt good about it. I am a firm believer in Emily Dickinson's point of view, although note to bias, she went to Mount Holyoke College where I did, but that really you can practice from anywhere. She sat in a room for years and was able to have a religious and spiritual practice. I celebrated yesterday. I am starting a year-long online course in herbal and plant magic, and I'm so grateful that I can continue to be awed and amazed at just life, and I'm learning about plants, and it's just super exciting, and that our intuition is always on, our soul, our higher wisdom, our sovereign self, whatever you call it, is always there for us if we are opening to listening. So as I do this Corona Files, as I'm doing every Monday, as long as we are in lockdown, and we will soon find out in North Carolina, I probably will continue this in May. Again, up in the air, we'll see. As long as much of the country is on lockdown, I am going to do this. So I would first like to start the Corona File episodes with positive. And some good news, I saw pictures of Los Angeles without smog. I'm sorry that I was never out there to experience it. I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years, but it was truly amazing to see and all the wonderful changes in nature that are happening. I've read that they have found the antibodies for the coronavirus. Now, I skimmed the article. I got my doctor's degree from nowhere, but they were talking about a person who had the disease and was like, yes, please use me to get my antibodies. I don't know if they use that for a vaccine or if it's something that you could take something from that and try it as an experimental treatment to help prevent people from dying. I thought that was great news. Tyler Perry, I read, the man behind the Medea, paid for groceries during senior hour at 73 Kroger's. How awesome is that? And so those are just a few of the good news stories that I wanted to share. I also, as I've been saying every week, how can you do something once a week to support a small business or to do something? And someone said to me, I don't have any money right now. I get that. You are not, first of all, you're not alone. There are many people in that boat with you, but there's still things that you can take. You can write a review about a business that you like. Maybe you can afford to buy something and say, hey, you know what? Every time I've gone here, great customer service. They have the best pizza east of Chicago. Whatever it is, you can rate and review. You can refer them. You know, I mentioned last week about how some people are raising funds to support restaurants and have them feed the healthcare workers. And so you can do something like that. Say, hey, I nominate Joe's Italian, best Italian ever. They're a great group of people. I would love to see them be considered for this. You can just say to them, hey, I've always appreciated your business. I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you. As I say, like a broken record, everything is energy. And so what you put out adds to everything. And people, I believe, really feel it. When I've said to someone, I'm going to pray for you, I stop and take a moment, sending good energy, whatever it is, whatever your vernacular is, I'm going to encourage you, don't get caught up in, I don't pray, it's sending healing energy, all good. Whatever you call that, simply do that. And you're just adding to the goodness of all the energy out there, and people really feel that. Today I wanted to talk about finding hope when you don't feel like you can have hope. There are a lot of people, it's a really stressful time for many. People have lost jobs, people are worried about paying their rent. My understanding, I'd encourage you to find the laws in your state, because I've seen some people who are being threatened to be evicted, and my understanding, at least here in North Carolina, was that evictions are on hold. So just know your rights. While I've talked about being aware, like what can you find good about this time during the coronavirus, or what are those positive stories, like the 97-year-old grandmother who recovered. At the same time, you can be aware, and it doesn't mean getting into despair and getting stressed out and being like, okay, well, I'm aware. What are my rights during this time? Because in a national crisis or emergency like this, we can have things happen, and And it's even more important to pay attention during this time. So be aware of your rights. So how can you find hope? You can say, Julie, you know what? I just want to stay in bed all day. And I understand that. I've been there. First thing I'm going to suggest is nature. Because for a lot of people, it's going to have an option. Now, if you're in a dense urban city, such as New York, I got to believe there are trees still in New York. Can you walk to Central Park? If you're in LA, I know they're on a mission to plant, I believe it was 1 million trees I read, and I hope that they do that. Getting time in nature connects us. It helps soothe our soul. When I did my little ceremony yesterday, it was very purposeful. I kind of felt like I was surrounded by trees, and I kind of feel that the trees bore witness to what I was undertaking. So get out in nature. Again, if you say, I don't have that option, then I am going to really encourage you, well, what can you find online? There are lots of freebies about national parks where you can find out more information about them. They have videos. Watch one of those. You know, one of the biggest things when I started coaching is I had to become more aware when people would fight me, and I would always think, oh, well, maybe I didn't offer the right thing, so let's see how we can tweak this. And it was not so much about me needing to tweak something, but the resistance, and just people didn't want to do it. And again, that's your choice. There's no right or wrong here. But I'm going to encourage you, if you're coming up with an excuse or finding why you can't do that, examine that. Excuse me. If you need support, so if you say, I can't even do that, again, we're always to ask for support. There's no shame in that. I think a lot of times that we get into this mindset that you have to be a strong, rugged individual. No, especially now. So ask for support. If you're like, Julie, I can't even Google national parks. Okay, then ask for support. But you just take that first step. And as another way to support people, if you know someone who may be struggling, reach out. Check on your neighbors, check on the elderly, see if anyone needs anything. Really come together now for community. Another thing that I think is really key, and if you're struggling, is own your feeling. You know what? I'm angry that I'm out of a job. I am sad that I feel so despondent right now. Because when we own them, then we can accept them, then we can release them. Because if we don't, they have to go somewhere. Your anger gets buried, your sadness gets buried, and then sometimes it comes out at the most inopportune minutes. Have you ever been in a situation where you've blown up at someone and they're like, whoa, where did that come from? It's probably because the emotions haven't been dealt with, and it has nothing to do with the current situation where you're upset, but it's because emotions haven't been dealt with. You know, like when a kid has a temper tantrum and parents are, oh no, temper tantrum, embarrassed. No, kids are awesome. They know exactly what to do. They're dialed in. They're like, I didn't get my candy bar, and start having a temper tantrum. But you know what? Then the emotions are released. They're not stored. So if you need to go have a big old temper tantrum, do it. You need to have a good cry. That came for me up for me my ceremony yesterday. I was like, wow, I thought this had been healed. Nope, we just got to another layer. So I just cried, and boy, was I grateful. So honor your emotions, feel your emotions, and then release them. And when you do that, it helps bring you into present time more, right? Because you're not living in that past emotion. You're not, and if you're feeling fear for the future, feel that as well. Again, that helps you become present. There are no right or wrong to emotions. I believe they're guideposts saying, hey, this is what we need to heal. This is, hello, I'm trying to get a message to you. This is what we need to pay attention to. So honor all your feelings. Don't censor yourself. Be present as much as it's possible. Because remember, that's going to allow you to take action. If you're worried about, if you're spending all your time, what am I going to do? I don't have a job right now. Well, that takes you out. That doesn't allow you to take action because you're focused over here. But you say, okay, I'm going to get on the job resume. I'm going to redo my resume. I am going to join some networking groups. I'm going to get on LinkedIn. I'm going to reach out to everyone I know. Who do you know? How can you support me? How can you help me find a job? Right? Because you're taking action. When you're doing that, you're focused on taking action. You're not in worry. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you need support, reach out. Ask for help right now. I have seen so many wonderful stories about people offering help and support to everyone, it's out there. I encourage you to write a list. What gives you hope? Things that give me hope are Mother Nature healing, smog going away, children. Children always give me hope because I think, wow, we've got a chance to get it right with the next generation. Cats give me hope. Animals give me hope. Acts of kindness give me hope. They help renew my faith. Being in nature gives me hope. Having a deep conversation with someone gives me hope. Learning about plants and herbs and all their holistic healing qualities give me hope. I'd really encourage you, make a list, and then you can refer to that list when you're really upset or you're really challenged. But you have found hope, and I'd encourage you, then do an inventory. Where did you feel despondent in the past, and how did you get out of that? What were the steps that you took? Who was there to support you? What made you ask for help if you needed it? What made you take that first step? I guarantee you've probably done this, whether or not you're giving, we never give ourselves enough credit. So make that list. Where have I overcome something in the past? You're a lot stronger than you give yourself credit for. And then kind of take that apart and see what the steps were. What were your challenges and how did you overcome them? Celebrate what you can. Maybe you can celebrate, you know what? I have a roof over my head right now. The company gave us another month of health insurance. The company furloughed me, but the good news is when they get back on their feet, they're going to rehire me. Celebrate and find the good anywhere you can. And remember, if you get that little thread, that can allow you to keep going, right? You build upon that. And it's that one glimmer of hope, and it's out there. It's out there. You know, sun's gonna come out after the storm. We had a terrible storm here last night. We're still under a wind advisory, but the sun's out. A little bit cloudy, but it's out. It always comes out again. Now I want to make a note here. Again, I have just written a couple little things down. I wanted to do this mainly off the top of my head. There's a difference about temporarily not being able to find hope and depression. If you are depressed, I currently urge you, please go seek some professional support. Even during this time, I just did an interview with the therapist. They are doing online counseling. They're going to be able to help you if you need to get a prescription. I'm sure the psychiatrist, the person can do that. Reach out for help. And if you might be unsure, what I would say to you is, how long have you felt this way? If you felt this way for a while, it's worth examining and talking to a professional. They're going to be able to help you figure out, you know what, maybe we need to try some options here. And yes, you are depressed. So if it's been this way for a while, you feel severely depressed, I urge you, please reach out to someone. Again, it's not this temporary feeling of not having hope. And, you know, I've shared before on my podcast that 2018 was a really hard year for me. And I was depressed for sure. But I also knew myself well enough to know, okay, I know this is temporary. I've got to allow myself to just muddle through it. And I did. But with the caveat that I do a lot of personal work, a lot of personal growth, I trusted myself. I had a good support system in place. And I was checking in with my friend Cotty, you know, weekly, if not daily. How are you feeling today? You know, what is it we need to do? How can I support you? And so that made a difference. So I did have a support system for that. But I just want you to be aware of that. Big difference between depression and temporarily having lost hope. So how do you move forward? Take any step you can. And for you, maybe that's getting out of your pajamas, right? It's easy to just stay in pajamas all day. Maybe it is taking the time to fix yourself a good meal, or doing your hair and makeup. Maybe it is getting outside to take a walk. You find like, okay, you know what? Let's just try it. I'm just gonna go around. Maybe it's just a quick in the cul-de-sac, a quick little walk, but you're getting outside. And what I found when you take that first step, that it builds and it continues to build. Look for inspiration. There are a lot of amazing people out there. Who else can you follow for inspiration? There are all sorts of social media if you're mainly visual. Instagram is great. I follow a lot of cats on Instagram. I don't know if there's something wrong with me that I can look at about 5 billion cat pictures and enjoy every one. If cats are your jam, then look for cat pictures. If you like quotes, start researching quotes. Find people that inspire you. Find pages that inspire you. And just help lift that, to help remind you. Be those daily reminders. I have on my phone an app called I Am, and it's affirmations. And so you can pick categories, and you can also set it for like 5 or 6 reminders. I think 6 is a max a day. And I love it because it'll pop up on my screen. And sometimes it'll just say I am. And I have to fill in the blank. I am awesome. I am loved. I am good enough. I am worthy. Whatever is coming to my mind, and then it'll have a category. And so that's a nice little way to give yourself a boost. I'm also a fan of wisdom cards, and I have definitely a few boxes, and I quite frankly get them when they're on sale at Hay House. That's usually when I buy them. And I will pick, if I'm not feeling it, I just got one on Moonology. I think the moon's pretty groovy. I'll just pick, hey, what do I need to hear today? And that's what do I need to hear? And then I'll play around the cards and pull one. And I've always found those to be really helpful. And I know Louise Hay also has affirmation cards. She has a really good deck. And so that might be something, that you can do. A small investment with a big return. Self-care is really important. So how are you taking care of yourself? Again, as I mentioned, are you getting dressed every day? Are you combing your hair? Are you putting on makeup? Whatever it is that works for you. If you need to take a bubble bath, if you need to take a nap, are you honoring yourself? Are you giving yourself good self-care by asking for support? Again, I go back to this because for most of my life, I couldn't ask for help. I saw it as a weakness. I saw it as a bad thing. It was a negative thing. Wow, why can't you take care of this yourself? And I wish I could just, go back and comfort that young woman and say it was okay to ask for help. You're absolutely allowed to ask for that. And if someone rejects you, I've had that happen when I've asked for help, then go look for someone else. And there are a lot of decent, good online communities as well. If you're like, hey, I'm in a rural area, there's not a lot of options. What do you have online? Again, I can't emphasize enough that you need to take that first step. And if you find yourself making excuses, then what's that about? Maybe it's not about losing hope. Maybe it's about something else. And remember, don't waste any time on judgment. Another thing besides asking for support is forgiveness. I think sometimes when we haven't hope, and I know in my case this was true, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not quite there. Forgiveness is something that there are a couple people I've not forgiven. And I'm working on that. I need more time. And I'm going to be gentle with myself about this. Although when I did that ceremony yesterday, one of the things I was grateful for was it showed me that I hadn't healed something and that I wasn't aware of it. But it gave me the hope, because one of the things, this is a year-long course, and they said, what do you want to heal? And I was like, boom, this is I still have grief. I still have anger. I'd like to really be healed. And again, in my viewpoint, you have several layers, but I made this pledge that this is what I wanted to heal. And I know part of that is forgiveness. So, you might be angry that your company went under and that you feel your boss didn't run the company well, or whatever it is. Seek forgiveness if you're able to. Where can you forgive? Because that's going to be something that helps move you forward. And it's going to be something that helps you see hope again. And go back. When have you forgiven people before? How were you able to accomplish that? Who have you sought forgiveness from? What did you do to ask for forgiveness? Again, as we heal the inside, we heal the outside, and vice versa. And so it's equally important to ask for forgiveness. I'm glad that I did this on Easter Monday. I wasn't sure if I should do this because it's a holiday, but I felt really listening to my guidance and intuition that it was really important to just kind of do a little talk on hope. As always, I will stick around for an hour. I want to answer your questions for free. It doesn't have to be about hope. If you want to talk about getting organized, clearing your clutter, I am here. I'm here to support you and ask any question, hopefully something I know a little bit about. If you ask me medical questions, we're in trouble. So I will be here for the next hour, and I will end on my tagline: go out, clear your clutter to create the life you choose, deserve, and desire.